Tournament management, opening and closing ceremonies, various committee and their responsibilities. A tournament is a competition held among various teams in a particular activity according to fixed schedule where a winner is decided. Tournaments are essential and most important part of physical education curriculum. It is a series of sports in which a team finally wins and rest of the team loses the matches. Before organizing a tournament, it is very important to prepare a good plan. There are various methods to organize a tournament. To select the best method depends upon various factors such as what is the number of participating teams. Nowadays, tournaments are held according to set rules and regulations. Now we have importance of tournament. Tournaments are important in the field of sports. The tournaments are not only significant to the player but to the coaches and physical education teachers also. The importance of tournament are as follows. Number 1, development of sports skills. By participating in tournaments, sportsmen do not develop only the technical skills of the sports but also the tactical skills. Number 2, helpful in selection of players. On the basis of tournaments, good players can be selected by observing their performance in a tournament. Number 3, popularity and publicity of sports. Tournaments are helpful in publicizing the sports. It creates interest in that sports. Number 4, a source of recreation. Sports tournaments provide ample recreation to the spectators. Number 5, development of social qualities. Social traits such as tolerance, sympathy, cooperation, group cohesion, etc. are developed among participants through sports tournaments. Number 6, development of national and international integration. Sports tournaments are helpful in developing national integration as well as international unity and brotherhood. Now coming to types of tournaments. There are 4 main types of tournament which are listed below. Number 1, knockout or elimination tournaments. Number 2, league or round robin tournaments. Number 3, combination tournaments. Number 4, challenge tournaments. Each major type of tournament have further classification. Each subtype serves different needs of the organizers. That is, knockout or elimination tournament. Again, we have in this category single knockout or single elimination tournament, consolation tournament, that is type 1 and type 2. Then next, double knockout or double elimination tournament, and next we have bacchanal wild elimination tournament. After this we have another type of tournament, that is league or round robin tournaments. In this we can classify it in the following manner, like single league tournament and double league tournament. With this we have another type of tournament, that is combination tournaments. In this also we have various types of tournament like knockout cum knockout tournament, knockout cum league tournament, league cum league tournament, and league cum knockout tournament. Now we have challenge tournaments. In this also we have two categorization, that is ladder tournament and pyramid tournament. Now we have opening ceremony. Main elements of the opening ceremony. The Rule 55 of the Olympic Charter briefly mentions the protocol that must be observed at the opening ceremony of the Games, as well as the opening speech by the host country's head of the state. The other important features of the ceremonies are: number 1, entry by the head of the state; number 2, playing of the national anthem; number 3, the parade of participants; number 4, the symbolic release of peasants; number 5, the head of the state declares the games open; number 6, raising the Olympic flag and playing the Olympic anthem; number 7, the taking of the Olympic oath by an athlete, an official, and a coach; number 8, the Olympic flame and torch relay; number 9, we have the artistic program. Now we have protocol elements of the opening ceremony. In the protocol elements of the opening ceremony, we have entry by the head of states. The head of state of the host country is received at the entrance to the stadium by the IOC president. The IOC president then meets the head of the state in the official state. After this, playing of the national anthem. After the introduction of the head of the state, the national anthem of the host country is then played or sung as the host nation's flag is hoisted. After this, we have the parade of participants. The parades of the participants reflects both the changing world and the growth of the Olympic movement. Tradition dictates that the delegation parade in alphabetical order according to the language of the host country, except for Greece, which leads the parade, and the host country, which brings up the rear. Its delegation is led in by its flag and a board displaying its name. After this, we have the symbolic release of peasants. As dogs are the symbols of peace, the opening ceremony protocol calls for a symbolic release of these birds. From 1936 to 1988, the release of the peasants used to take place before the arrival of the Olympic flame. As a continuation of this, we have the head of the state declares the games open. First, it is the president of the organizing committee who gives a brief speech from the rostrum. Then the IOC president gives a speech and invites the head of the state to proclaim the games open. After this, we have raising the Olympic flag and playing the Olympic anthem. After the head of the state opens the games, the Olympic flag unfurled horizontally is brought into the stadium. By custom, the flag is carried by 8 or 10 people. When the flag reaches the base of the flagpole, the Olympic anthem is performed as the flag is raised to the top of the pole. The Olympic flag must be flown for the entire duration of the games. After this, we have the taking of the Olympic oath. The Olympic oath of modern times is similar to that pronounced by the Olympic athletes of ancient times, except that today the athletes swear on the Olympic flag, not on the entrails of a sacrificed animal. With this, we have the Olympic flame and torch relay. The flame is carried from Olympia by a relay all the way to its final destination, the Olympic Stadium in the host city of the Olympic Games about to begin. The final torch bearer will run a lap of the stadium before the flame is used to light the Olympic cauldron, which remains lit for the duration of the games and it's extinguished only at the closing ceremony of the games. Now we have the artistic program. Once the national anthem of the host country has been played, the show begins. Usually, the content is kept secret until the last minute. Closing ceremony. Most of the event or tournament have the almost same protocol elements and are an integral part of the closing ceremonies. A closing ceremony is organized on the last day of the event or tournaments and must be held in main podium. Here are the protocol elements which are now an integral part of the closing ceremony as referred to the Olympic game. Number 1. Entry by the head of state. The first element is the entrance of the head of state of the host country, accompanied by the President of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, and the President of the Organizing Committee for the Olympic Games. Number 2. Playing of the national anthem. Then the national anthem of the host country is played and its flag hosted in the Olympic Stadium. Number 3. Entry of nation's flag. One of the key moments of a closing ceremony is the parade of flags of the countries participating in the games. The Greek flag opens the march and the host country's flag brings up the rear. Its flag is generally carried by an athlete chosen by his or her National Olympic Committee. Number 4. Parade of athletes. It is immediately followed by the athletes' parade. They walk and march and in no particular order during this parade. For the games of the Olympiad, the athletes enter the stadium after the artistic program and remain in the center of the field. Number 5. Victory ceremony. After the athletes' parade, a medal ceremony is held. The International Olympic Committee, with the help of the Organizing Committee for the Olympic Games, decides which event will have its medal ceremony during the closing ceremony. For example, for the Summer Games, it is generally the marathon event. For the first few editions of the Games, all the medals were presented on the last day. Number 6. Introduction of the Athletes Commission's newly elected member and recognition of the volunteers. The next protocol element is the presentation of the athletes elected by their peers to the IOC Athletes Commission during the Games. On behalf of the athletes, one of these new members then presents a bouquet of flowers to representatives of the volunteers as a tribute and mark of gratitude to their work carried out during the Games. Number 7. Playing of the Greek national anthem. The seventh protocol element is the Greek flag being raised to the left of the Olympic flag. The Greek national anthem is played simultaneously. This is a symbol of the link between the games of antiquity and those of the modern era. Number 8. Lowering the Olympic flag and flag handover ceremony. Then comes a solemn moment as the Olympic flag is lowered to the sound of the Olympic anthem. The mayors of the current host city and next host city join the IOC president. The mayor of the host city hand over the flag to the IOC president, who hands it on to the mayor of the next host city. The flag of the next host city country is then raised to the right of the flag of the current host country to the sound of his anthem. This handover is a symbolic highlight. The flag will usually be displayed in the town hall of the host city over the next 4 years. Next, host city artistic segment. To further mark this transition from one city to another, an artistic segment of the closing ceremony lasting 8 minutes is devoted to the next host city. This segment is an invitation to the youth of the world to attend the next games. Number 10. Organizing Committee President Speech and IOC President Speech. The Organizing Committee President delivers a brief speech thanking the athlete and volunteers before giving the floor to the IOC President, who declares the games closed and invites the youth of the world to come together for the next edition of the Olympic Games 4 years later. Number 11. Extinguishing of the Olympic flame. The last protocol element is undoubtedly the most moving. The Olympic flame is extinguished in the stadium. With this last element, this time it is certain that the games are over. Now we are coming to the various committees and their responsibilities. To be successful in organizing any kind of tournament or events, it is very much important to have a proper channel of committees which provides different sector and the responsibility to be performed. List of committees for organizing sports event are as follows. Number 1, Committee for Publicity. Number 2, Transport Committee. Number 3, Boarding and Lodging Committee. Number 4, Decoration and Ceremony Committee. Number 5, Refreshment and Entertainment Committee. Number 6, Reception Committee. Number 7, Ground and Equipment Committee. Number 8, Announcement Committee. And number 9, Committee for Officers. Now we have Committee for Publicity. The main purpose of publicity is to encourage interest in the society's activities. Suitable publicity announcing a forthcoming meeting may be provided to newspapers and trade journals in order to stimulate interest in that meeting. Photographs of meeting participants, interesting meeting events, or other items should be submitted along with the meeting reports to the society headquarters at the conclusion of the meeting for publication, and written materials in an interesting journalistic style should also be submitted to the local newspaper and journal as well as national and international publication. Now we have Transport Committee. This committee is responsible for providing the facilities regarding transportation of various teams to the venue of sports event or the place of boarding and lodging as the case may be. Its main duty is to make necessary arrangement for transportation. Next we have Boarding and Lodging Committee. Boarding and Lodging Committee is responsible for making necessary arrangement for providing accommodation and serving meals to the sports persons and officials. Next we have Decoration and Ceremony Committee. Decoration and Ceremony Committee is responsible for the decoration of sports area of stadium. It is also responsible to make necessary arrangements for the opening ceremony, victory ceremony, and closing ceremony of the games or sports meet. This committee also make arrangement for trophies, medal, and certificates. Next we have Refreshment and Entertainment Committee. This committee takes the charge of supplying refreshments and drinks to the guests, officials, and competitors, etc. It also makes some arrangement for entertainment programs at the opening ceremony and closing ceremony of sports events. Next we have Reception Committee. The members of this committee are responsible to welcome the chief guests at the opening and closing ceremonies. It is also the duty of this committee to welcome the other guests and spectators. Next, we have Ground and Equipment Committee. This committee is responsible for making the ground or laying out the track and field. This committee also makes necessary arrangements of equipment related to the games or athletic meet. Now we have Announcement Committee. This committee is solely responsible for making various announcements during the sports meet or games. This committee announces regarding opening and closing ceremonies, which and when an event is going to take place, the name of the officials who are conducting the event, and the running commentary of games or sports event. Now we have Committee for Officials. This committee selects various officials such as referees, judges, recorders, clerks of the course, starters, marshals, track umpires, timekeepers, and lap scorers for athletic meet, and referee, umpires, timekeepers, recorders, and judges, etc. in case of games as per requirement. Now we have conclusion. A tournament is a sports competition in which players who wins a match continue to play further matches in the competition until the winner is decided or one person or team is left. Tournaments are essential and most important part of physical education and sports curriculum. It is the series of sports in which team finally wins and rest of the team loses the matches. Before organizing a tournament, it is very important to prepare a good plan. There are various methods to organize a tournament. To select the best method depends upon the various factors such as what is the number of participating teams. Nowadays, tournaments are conducted according to the set rules and regulation. Further, the opening ceremony obviously represents the starts of the tournament, like in the Olympic, even though some of the event begins before the actual opening ceremony. There is a traditional parade of nation where athletes are grouped by country and march next to each other, representing their nation as a unit. Similarly, a closing ceremony is organized on the last day of the event or tournament and must be held in main podium.